Hi there guys, welcome to Such Is Life, a channel dedicated to exploring the mysteries and complexities of life and philosophy revolving around it. On this channel, we will delve into a variety of topics related to life and how we live it, including personal growth, relationships, and the search for meaning and purpose. Whether you are a seasoned philosopher or just starting to think about the big questions in life, we hope you will join us on this journey of discovery and self-exploration. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the mysteries of life together. In today's video we explore the concept of race. Is it a man-made social construct or something biologically inherent? We also delve into some research done on the subject matter to find some general consensus. Also, we will try to understand how nature plays in shaping distinct features in humans. Do we see any semblance in nature, especially in the animal kingdom, to that of the concept of race? How does AI comprehend race as a concept? Will AI be tuned to cater for different races that shape their society norms? So much to ponder with so little time. So let's start by breaking down some key components of the discussion. The topic of race has been widely debated in both academic and social circles, with varying perspectives on whether it is a socially constructed concept or something that is biologically inherent. The question of whether race is a biological or social construct has important implications for fields such as medicine, law, and psychology, as well as for our understanding of human diversity and social inequality. It is therefore of utmost importance that any studies and conclusions be derived not at the cost of prejudicial and discriminatory outcomes. One perspective on the question of race is that it is a social construct with no basis in biology. Anthropologists have long been at the forefront of research on this topic, with many arguing that race is a cultural invention rather than a biological reality. For example, anthropologist Jonathan Marks, in his study titled Why Race is Not a Biological Concept, argues that race is not a scientifically valid concept and that there is no genetic basis for the racial categories that are commonly used. Marx states that race is a human invention, a way of classifying people based on physical characteristics, and that these categories are not supported by science. He argues that the concept of race is a product of culture and history, and that it is used to justify discrimination and inequality. Another example of research that supports the idea that race is a social construct is the study by sociologists Douglas Hartman and Matthew W. Huey, titled The Social Construction of Whiteness: Racism by Intent, Racism by Consequence. In this study, the authors argue that the concept of race is not a biological reality but is instead a social construct that is used to justify and maintain systems of inequality. They argue that the concept of whiteness is not a reflection of any inherent biological characteristics, but is instead a way of classifying people based on their perceived proximity to the ideals of white, Western civilization. However, there are also perspectives that argue that there are distinct physical and genetic differences between different human populations. For example, some studies have found that there are genetic differences that contribute to certain physical characteristics, such as skin color or facial features. Geneticist Sarah Tishkoff, in her study titled The Genetic Structure and History of Africans and African Americans, found that there is a high degree of genetic variation within Africa, and that the concept of race does not accurately reflect this variation. However, Tishkoff also found that there are genetic clusters that correspond with certain geographical regions and ethnic groups, which may be used to infer certain physical characteristics. Another study that supports the idea that there are genetic differences between different human populations is the study by geneticist Mark D. Shriver, titled Skin Pigmentation, Biogeographical Ancestry, and Admixture Mapping. This study found that there is a strong correlation between biogeographical ancestry and skin pigmentation, which suggests that there are genetic differences between different human populations that contribute to variations in skin color. In recent years, the study of genetics and genomics has advanced rapidly, and new genetic technologies have made it possible to study human populations in unprecedented detail. This has led to a growing body of research on the genetic basis of human variation and the relationship between genetics and race. For example, a study by geneticist David Reich, titled Genetic Ancestry and the Search for Personal Genes, found that there is a significant amount of genetic overlap between different human populations, which suggests that the concept of race is not a useful way to classify people based on their genetics. So, do we see any semblance of the concept of race in nature, especially in the animal kingdom, and whether it can take any correlation from that to our own justification of race as a concept? In nature, populations of animals are typically divided into different subspecies or subpopulations based on genetic, geographical, and ecological factors, rather than on physical characteristics or perceived racial hierarchies. One example of a concept similar to race in the animal kingdom is the concept of subspecies. Subspecies are populations of a species that are geographically or genetically distinct from one another. For example, the African lion, Panthera leo, is divided into two subspecies, the savanna lion, Panthera leo leo, and the Barbary lion, Panthera leo leo persica. These subspecies are distinguished by differences in size, coat color, and other physical characteristics. Another example is the concept of ecotypes, which is a term used to describe different types of a species that have adapted to different environments. For example, the grizzly bear, Ursus arctos, is found in different regions of North America and have different fur color, body size, and diet. What is clear in these concepts is that it is based on scientific criteria such as genetics and ecology, rather than on social constructions and racial hierarchies. Additionally, unlike the concept of race in human societies, subspecies and ecotypes do not carry with them the same history of discrimination and inequality. This does lead to credence that the idea of race is driven mainly along the lines of social construction rather than the norm found in nature. Surely then there is an undeniable proof of intelligence or athleticism correlating to race, as we all know the stereotypes that exist. Not so fast, as there have been many studies conducted on this topic, but the findings are often inconclusive and controversial. In terms of intelligence, some studies have found that there are differences in average IQ scores between different racial groups. For example, a study by J. Philippe Rushton, titled Race, Intelligence, and the Brain, the Errors and Omissions of the Revised Edition of S.J. Gould's The Mismeasure of Man, which found that on average, East Asians have the highest IQ scores, followed by whites, and then blacks. However, it is important to note that these differences are small and may be influenced by a variety of factors such as socioeconomic status, cultural background, and access to education. Additionally, IQ tests are not always an accurate measure of intelligence and have been criticized for cultural bias. For example, a study by Richard Nisbet, titled Intelligence and How to Get It, Why Schools and Cultures Count, argues that the performance of any individual or group in IQ tests can be improved through environmental factors such as quality of education and socioeconomic status. In terms of athleticism, some studies have found that there are differences in athletic performance between different racial groups. For example, a study by researchers at the University of Utah, titled Genetic Influences on Endurance and Sprint Athletic Performance, found that African Americans are overrepresented in sprint events while people of European descent are overrepresented in endurance events. However, it is important to note that even in these, the differences may be influenced by a variety of factors such as genetics, training, and cultural background. Other studies have also found that there is no correlation between race and athleticism, and that any observed differences in athletic performance are likely due to environmental factors such as access to training and resources. For example, a study by David Epstein, titled The Sports Gene, Inside the Science of Extraordinary Athletic Performance, argues that the success of any individual in sports is not just a matter of genetics but also a matter of environment and the opportunity to train. It is important to note that any correlation between race and intelligence or athleticism is complex and multifactorial, and that any observed differences are likely due to a combination of genetic, environmental, and social factors. Perhaps AI can compute and understand the concept of race in humans. AI can currently recognize and classify different races based on physical characteristics, but it is still not fully capable of understanding the nuances and complexities of the concept. While AI may be trained differently for specific races-based concepts based on the data it is given, it is important to ensure that the AI is not perpetuating harmful biases or stereotypes. For example, a study by researchers at the MIT Media Lab, titled The Perils of Predicting Recidivism, found that a machine learning algorithm used to predict recidivism rates in criminal defendants was significantly less accurate for African American defendants than for white defendants, due to the algorithm being trained on data that was biased against African Americans. This highlights the importance of ensuring that AI is trained on diverse and unbiased data, to avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes and discrimination. Furthermore, AI's understanding of race is still in its early stages, so it is important for AI to acknowledge the historical context and the role history has played in shaping the concept of race. A proper trajectory for AI development in this area is that it should be developed and trained with a diverse set of data and without any biases, and the importance to be reminded that all human beings are equal and should be treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their race. It goes without saying that humans have used the concept of race throughout history to justify discrimination and inequality. The idea of racial hierarchies has been used to justify slavery, colonialism, and other forms of oppression. In order to ensure AIs are programmed to be a better reflection of human extension, it is crucial for it to understand the historical context and the role it has played in shaping the concept of race. The recognition that the concept of race will never be fixed and one that has evolved over time and constantly evolving, and that different societies have used different criteria to define and classify people into racial categories. This is even more so evident in today's globalized world, where the concept of race has become even more complex, as people from different backgrounds are intermingling and intermarrying more frequently. This has led to an increase in the number of individuals who identify as multiracial. The concept of race should therefore never be used to limit the potential or opportunities of individuals, but rather it should be used to celebrate and appreciate the diversity of human populations. So what can we derive from this, and how should AI be programmed in a way that is acceptable in the future? We know that the concept of race is a complex and multifaceted topic that has important implications for a wide range of fields. It is likely a social construct that has been used throughout history to justify discrimination and inequality. Furthermore, it is important to recognize that the concept of race is not fixed and has evolved/will be evolving over time, and that it is not always clear-cut. It is crucial to understand the historical context and the role it has played in shaping the concept of race. Taking all this into account, it is of utmost importance to ensure that AI is developed and trained with a diverse set of data and without any biases. Ultimately, the most important thing to remember is that all human beings are equal and should be treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their race. So there you go, folks. Thanks for joining us on Such Is Life channel for this brief thought experiment. We hope that you have enjoyed exploring the mysteries and complexities of life and philosophy with us. Remember, life is a journey of self-discovery and personal growth, and there is always more to learn and discover. We encourage you to continue thinking deeply about the big questions in life and to seek out new experiences and perspectives that can help you to grow and evolve. We look forward to sharing more insights and ideas with you on future episodes of Such Is Life. If you like the content, we would love to hear your comments below, and remember to have a healthy discussion so we all can benefit together. We would appreciate it if you could share, like and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to be updated with our upcoming thought-provoking discussions on this channel. Until next time, take care and keep exploring the mysteries of life.